Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angryprepper. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the food shortage in New York City. Now, is it a definite shortage? Probably not. Because, well, not even because. I did speak to a food manager or manager of a supermarket, and he stated that they were getting less deliveries. Now, this manager worked for a supermarket that I frequent downtown. I walked into the store prior to that conversation. And I'm walking around, I'm looking around, I'm like, man, what the hell's going on here? There's nothing here. I thought maybe they were at the end of the week and they were going to hit the delivery date, but I remember that it was a Tuesday, and I'm looking around, I'm like, well, Tuesday, they normally get their shit Sunday and Monday, right? Monday morning, especially. So I'm like, all right, they missed a couple deliveries. No big deal. Walking around further, I started noticing that there were just way too many bare shelves in the supermarket. So, again, not alarming anyone, just letting people know that it seemed to have hit, because I remember a week prior to that, I opened my mouth and I was like, yeah, we haven't seen anything here yet. I'm pretty sure it's coming. Well, not even a couple days later, it was here. And I probably wasn't paying attention to the last time I was in the supermarket. I mean, I did see bare shelves, but I didn't think anything of it. And not that I didn't think anything of it, I just said, well, let's see what it looks like next week. Well, then I go the following week, and that was when I started noticing the shelves are still bare, and I'm like, okay, this is the food shortage. 2021 of September now, I'm looking around, I'm like, all right, it's a problem. It's a problem that's actually caught up with us. But there's still food to be had in other brands, if you will, right? So like the main brands are sold out, secondary brands are still there, their shelves are bare as well, and like the lower end shit that people don't want to eat because it's cheap or whatever, that's still there, but it's bare as well. So we're definitely seeing a food shortage. Now, the reason for the food shortage is, again, you've heard it a million times, bottlenecking at the ports, the lack of labor, the increase in customer demand, mainly because a lot of people are now cooking at home and eating through the pandemic. They're eating everything, and not everything like mom eating. They're eating a lot of shit, and so with people cooking and that being the thing happening, and people not going out to the restaurants as much, right? Because now that the mandates, with all of that going on, people are eating indoors, and that's calling for more demands on more supplies. Well, because there's a bottlenecking at the ports, there's a lack of labor, there's lack of truck drivers as well now, and there's more demand for these foods, it is not making it to the stores. Now, is the food out there? Yes and no, because there are certain places that cut back on production of food as well. So with the cutback of production because of lack of workers, they can't meet the demands that need to be met at the supermarket. A lot of people are missing. Extreme weather also played a role. We had droughts, we had extreme heat that damaged a lot of crops, right? And then we had that insane winter storm back in February out west. That also, maybe that was March, I can't remember, but remember early this year we had that insane freeze over out in the southwest, and that also damaged a lot of crops. So with the heat wave, with the drought, and with that, guys, that is lending to the food shortage. Again, the food products, or the fruits and vegetables, they were also bare as well. They were still there, but there wasn't as much of it as I normally would see at the supermarket, and it was way less. So that's lending to it. So we're seeing, guys, the after effect. Now, for those of you guys that are prepping, you're probably noticing this already, but if you are just new to prepping and you're not noticing it, go to your local supermarket and look around and take a look at what's there and what's not there. And then a week later, do the same thing and try to see if you notice if there's less food, because I definitely did notice less food in the supermarket I go to and the supermarket over by the firehouse. Now, by the firehouse is not as bad, though there are way more people in that neighborhood than there is where the supermarket I go shopping at, but they are seeing less food there as well, but it's not as bad as the Fairway. I spoke to that same manager at that supermarket. He says that it's a citywide thing right now. They're seeing this all over. So it's not just him, it's all over the city. And the other thing they're also seeing is a liquor shortage, by the way. I spoke to a guy because I was looking to buy another bottle of whiskey that I was going to probably leave on my shelf for a year and not drink. Talking to the the liquor store guy, and he said that they were having a problem getting whiskey, and mainly whiskey and vodka. They were having a problem getting that in because the bars and the clubs are buying the shit up tenfold because they're about to open again. And he says they're battling with them, and they're battling with bars, and they're battling with whiskey bars, right? So for those of you that might not know, whiskey bars are a place where they just serve all kinds of whiskey. It's like a whiskey man's wet dream, whiskey bar. But anyway, not the point. So they're battling with those. So they're seeing this on all fronts now, guys. We're seeing shortages on all fronts, right? Liquor is probably the last thing a lot of you people want to hear about or even indulge in. But for those of us that do drink, let's say whiskey or any kind of liquor, there's definitely going to be a shortage. So I would say before the shortage gets into high gear, especially with liquor, start buying it now because you could definitely use it to trade. You can use certain liquor like vodka to treat wounds, and you can use whiskey for medical benefits. Believe it or not, guys, there's a lot of health benefits with whiskey, and I gotta put, if I can find a link, it'll be in the description section below. But there were 2 articles that I read about the health properties of drinking whiskey. So anyway, guys, with that, just buy the shit, and you can trade it. Even if you don't drink it, just buy it and trade with it. You know what I mean? Listen, that's going to be a nice commodity to have in your prepper stash. Anything involving liquor, with the exception of beer. Right? Beer goes bad after a while. You can't keep that around forever. But whiskey, vodka, some wines, depend on how you store it, you can keep it around for a long time. So currently there are 60 container ships sitting off the coast of Los Angeles port and Long Beach port waiting to come in to unload. So a lot of those ships have been out there for a few weeks now. I thought it was like only for a couple days, and they were apparently it's been that bad that a lot of these ships have been sitting out there for weeks, guys, waiting to come into port to unload their shit. So that also provides a problem for the guys on the boat, because who the hell wants to be on a boat that long, right? They told you the delivery is going to take a month or 2. Now you're on a boat for 3-4 months. But that's a problem, I guess, that they have to contend with. We have different problems to contend with, which is, again, the food shortages that's coming because of all these things that we're seeing line up. Sort of like the all planets lining up with the sun, and the perfect fucking disasters like right around the corner. Now, where a lot of these problems they're trying to alleviate is they're trying to get more workers in, and they're trying to pay them at a higher wage. So they're not bringing them at, let's say, the $15 wage mark anymore. They're trying to bring them at a 20. Bring them in a little higher, better benefits that gets these people back to work. Now, this is the labor portion of getting the food back on the table, right? They need more truck drivers. They're trying to entice truck drivers as well to get back to driving, to put food on the table. The problem with a lot of it is, guys, it comes down to the mandates. A lot of places are mandating that certain people take certain injections, and a lot of these people are not having it. That's another part that they are not talking about. Interestingly enough, they're going to blame everything else, which it is, and which we see, but they're also omitting the fact that these mandates are playing a huge role in a lot of the hiring process, because people are like, well, I'm not taking that if I have to take this job. So instead of just turning around and waiving the whole thing, because they waived it for the postal employees, they're not doing that with the I guess delivery services, whether that's the guys working at the ports, the truck drivers, or the labor guys at the food factories processing the food. This seems like they'd rather just have us starve. Again, all part of the plan. Anyway, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching. You can like, subscribe to this channel. You can also follow me on an Angry Truth channel and the Angry Lensman channel. And other than that, guys, thank you for watching.